Welcome to your ultimate pit stop, Piston Pundit. While the headlines roar about Trump's tariffs, diplomacy, and fiery speeches, a quieter but far more damaging crisis is taking shape: the collapse of America's inbound tourism. What was billed as a grand post-pandemic comeback has turned into a nosedive, leaving hotels empty, flights unbooked, and theme parks half full. From a steep decline in Canadian visitors to a controversial $250 visa integrity fee, the numbers are crashing fast. Behind the political noise, the real story is economic, and it's threatening to stall one of America's most dependable engines of growth. From rebound dreams to economic whiplash, America's tourism engine misfires. When Trump's second term began in January 2025, optimism ran high. Economists and travel executives alike envisioned a return to pre-pandemic highs: 79 million international arrivals, nearly matching 2019's record. But somewhere between campaign promises and policy rollouts, the transmission slipped. By mid-year, forecasts had crashed to roughly 66 million visitors. That's like losing an entire state's worth of tourists overnight. And behind those sterile numbers are real-world breakdowns: shuttered attractions, canceled events, and entire shifts of hotel staff sent home early. International visitors don't just take photos, they fuel America's financial drivetrain. They spend on hotels, restaurants, transport, and entertainment, injecting high-octane dollars into the economy. But 2025 has flipped that equation. The United States is one of the few major economies projecting an outright decline in international tourism revenue, even as global travel hits new records. The ripple effects are severe, from trade balances to local jobs, and the sense of American allure is fading fast. But as America's overall tourism engine sputters, one specific region shows just how deep the cracks go. The Canadian connection runs dry when trust turns to trade turmoil. For decades, Canada has been America's most dependable tourism partner, sending millions of visitors south each year for shopping, vacations, and business. But in 2025, that flow has nearly stalled. In September alone, road crossings to the U.S. plunged 34.8%, while return flights dropped 27%, marking 9 consecutive months of decline. Year-to-date, Canadian visits are down 17.7%, with land travel off 25%, and air travel down 11%. Analysts now predict recovery may not arrive until late in the decade, a devastating forecast given Canadians still outnumber visitors from the top 20 overseas countries combined. The reasons? Tariff skirmishes, Trump's 51st state remarks, and stricter border inspections have fueled anger and distrust. Online boycott campaigns only deepen the divide, while reports of profiling and harassment make many Canadians think twice before crossing. Once that trust evaporates, rebuilding it is no weekend road trip. And for America, the cost of that broken confidence could stretch into the billions. Before we move forward, if you're enjoying this deep dive, take a quick pit stop and subscribe to Piston Pundit. Your support keeps this channel running and helps us bring you more automotive and economic breakdowns just like this one. Now, while the northern border cools, the chill is spreading globally, and the world's response is just as telling. Global pushback and bureaucratic roadblocks: how policy turned visitors into protesters. It's not just Canada hitting the brakes. Travelers worldwide are rerouting their trips. In 2025, U.S. inbound tourism is falling even as global travel surges. Several countries now issue advisories warning of stricter U.S. entry checks, especially for transgender, non-binary, and dual-citizen travelers. Major airlines like Lufthansa, British Airways, and Air France are trimming U.S. routes amid dwindling demand. By July 2025, foreign arrivals were down 3.1%, marking the 5th straight monthly decline, while international spending is projected to drop 7%, erasing roughly $12.5 billion in revenue. Adding fuel to the downturn, the new $250 visa integrity fee, effective October 1st, targets most non-immigrant visa applicants. The fee is non-waivable and could deter tens of millions from visiting. The impact is sharpest in non-visa waiver nations, already strained by currency shifts and political tension. Though Washington expects $2.7 billion in added revenue over 10 years, critics warn it's a penny gain for a billion-dollar loss. As America raises walls, the world quietly walks away. And those numbers aren't just economic. They're visible on the ground, city by city, business by business. Tourism breakdown, from glittering skylines to the grit of empty streets. Behind the headlines are stories of empty streets, darkened hotels, and lost livelihoods. Of America's top 20 tourism-dependent cities, 18 are projected to decline in 2025. Even New York, the nation's tourism capital, is bracing for a 17% drop in international visitors. When the Big Apple struggles, every other destination feels it. Business travel isn't spared either. Western European visits fell 18% in April, leaving Chicago's conferences canceled and Vegas ballrooms dark. Corporate travel spending could shrink 5% this year. Then come the viral stories. A Welsh backpacker detained for 3 weeks. A German tattoo artist held for 6. These clips flood TikTok and YouTube, reshaping global perceptions faster than any policy can fix. The ripple effect hits hard. Theme parks see dwindling crowds. Local restaurants warn of layoffs, and hotels slash rates just to survive. Even domestic travelers are rethinking trips abroad, amplifying the downturn. The fallout stretches from small-town diners to Fortune 500 boardrooms. Yet amid all the gloom, some faint signals suggest the U.S. might still be able to restart the engine if it can overcome its own roadblocks. Crossroads ahead. Will America's tourism engine restart or rust in place? So, is this just turbulence, or are we watching the U.S. tourism engine seize for good? Some gauges flash hope. In August 2025, 13.7% of Canadians said they're very likely to visit the U.S. within a year, up slightly from July's low point. But historically, that number hovered near 25%, meaning the optimism light is still flickering. Beyond North America, the rest of the world is accelerating. Japan, Vietnam, and even Cyprus are breaking arrival records. Global travelers are choosing destinations that roll out red carpets, while America raises bureaucratic speed bumps. The new $250 visa integrity fee and discussions of $15,000 visa bonds could lock the doors even tighter. Even the coming mega events, the 2026 FIFA World Cup and 2028 Olympics, may not be enough to fully recharge the system. The World Travel and Tourism Council now expects true recovery only after 2030. That's not a detour, it's a generational delay. The US faces a choice: ease the friction or keep watching travelers fuel other economies. And that leads us to the most pressing question: what happens if America ignores the warning signs? Final verdict: America's tourism reckoning and the price of isolation. This isn't a blip, it's a wake-up call. The collapse of international tourism exposes how policy choices ripple through real lives. Tariffs, rhetoric, and red tape have taken what was once America's cultural advantage and turned it into a cautionary tale. Each missed flight, each canceled booking, each frustrated traveler erodes the nation's image further. But here's the silver lining: engines can be rebuilt. The US can restore its brand by simplifying entry rules, rebuilding trust, and showing warmth instead of warning signs. Tourism thrives on perception, and perception can change if leaders want it to. Now let's shift into discussion mode. Do you think America's tourism crash is a temporary stall or the start of a long-term decline? Would higher visa fees or stricter borders make you rethink visiting another country yourself? And what can the US learn from nations that turned travel setbacks into record rebounds? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Your perspectives keep this conversation running at full throttle. Before you go, don't forget to subscribe to Piston Pundit, so you'll be first in line for the next vehicle updates and economic deep dives that move the global engine. Thanks for watching, and until next time, keep your engines tuned and your curiosity wide open. You can now check out any of the videos on the screen. There's more exciting and informative content waiting for you.